Welcome to Empire Builders Podcast. Dave Young here, along with Stephen Semple. And all Stephen told me for this episode is that he's excited about doing it because it's got a Canadian tie-in, but he didn't whisper the name of the
Oh,
company or anything into my ear as
I
we
forgot
counted
to.
down. Yeah, it's
Oh, I
like
forgot
he just
to.
stood there looking at me. And
I'll tell you now. Sour Patch Kids. You
Sour
know the
Patch
candy?
Kids. Oh gosh, are they the origin of all the little sour candies that are out now?
It's always hard to say if they're the exact origin, but they were certainly one of the first ones that went big for
Okay,
sure.
so I don't like the candy was after most of my candy eating days. Uh,
Okay.
let's dive in.
So
Uh,
you're trying to tell me you eat no candy now? None?
that's what the that's what the doctor says should be happening. But I mean, as a child, I'm just too old to have devoured a lot of Sour Patch Kids. I think.
Yeah,
Tell me when this started.
yeah, so the Sour Patch Kids started basically in the early
Oh well, so I
1970s.
am,
Is
huh?
kind of when they came out. It was a Canadian company, but the other thing is it didn't first of all start as Sour Patch Kids.
Oh,
It was
okay.
actually first called Mars Men, and in 1985 they renamed it
Okay, well,
Sour
yeah,
Patch
then I
Kids.
was, I was adulting by then. So, where did this
Right,
start?
right.
Mars Men?
Mars Men.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not a
Mars
good
Men.
name.
No. So today it's part of a big conglomerate. It's part of the Mondelez Group, and it's estimated that there's about $248 million worth of Sour Patch Kids sold every year. So that's
It's a
a
lot of, yeah.
that's a lot of little kids. And it was started by a little Canadian company. There was a guy by the name of Frank Garatoul, who was working at Jarrett
Okay.
International. And he was admiring the American candy revolution. And he was the sales and marketing manager for Jarrett. And what Jarrett did was they were an importer of food that foreign transplants would like. So they would go out and they would find some sort of, food that people from
Mhm.
India would like and bring it in, or from Poland, and they would bring it in. So basically they really specialized in this whole idea of finding foods that foreign
Okay.
transplants
Interesting. I
would
like that
like.
idea.
Yeah, and he wanted to do a twist on gummy candy. So in 1920, Hans Riegel in Germany made the first gummy, and that was like a gummy bear. And they were really popular in Europe, but they weren't super popular here. And he didn't want to do a traditional sweet candy, and Halloween was really growing candy, and candy could now be found in different places, and all of this other stuff going on. And he also started to notice that there was an emergence of a different type of candy, like the Atomic
Okay.
Fireball
Yeah.
came out and Sour Lemon
Right.
Heads came out. And so he was noticing that there was this desire for stuff that was not just sweet. And they were really the first to do this whole idea of hot and, sour
Okay.
and sweet, right? So they combined two acids. So it would be super sour, and that super sour would drop off and then would come back as being
Okay.
sweet.
The sour, yeah.
They made it really super sour was the whole idea.
The back of my jaws are tensing up as we talk about this.
Right, yeah. And so they create that candy and they launch it as Mars Men.
Okay. Now is it just vitamin C? Is it just ascorbic acid? Or what is the Okay.
I never looked into what it is. If I remember correct, and I think it's a couple of acids. And one of
Okay.
the acids is citric acid, and I think there's another acid.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Ascorbic might be aspirin or something. But yeah, citric acid.
Yeah.
Just vitamin C. Yeah.
But there was also a second tartric
Hmm.
acid or something like it, because it was a combination of
Okay.
two acids, one being citric acid, and I can't remember.
It's candy technology. We wouldn't understand anyway. Yeah.
There it is. And so they launched it as Marsmen, and it had a little bit of success. But in 1985, they noticed a fad, and there's a fad called Cabbage Patch Kids,
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah.
right? And then that was followed. Remember, then there was the cards that were made, the
Oh,
Garbage
right.
Pail
Yeah. So we're
Kids. Remember the
following this
Garbage Pail
trend.
Kids? So he's noticing this trend, and so decides, you know what? Let's call it Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
and it's a hit right away.
Sure.
They changed the name, they changed the packaging. It was the most popular candy of 1985.
Did the Cabbage Patch people sue them for infringing on Patch and kids?
I didn't see any history on that. And if you think about
I
it,
mean,
it is
it's
a
a
different
great
name,
example of just
right?
riding the coattails of a popular trend. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, and it's still popular. It's a top 10 candy today. Still really super popular. But what I like is again, they were looking out there. They
Mhm.
saw gummies. Gummies weren't super popular here. They noticed this whole idea of hot and sour candies coming along with the, atomic fireball and sour lemon heads, but decided to do something different. That combining of making it super sour, dropping back and coming back sweet,
Yeah.
doing all of those things and creating the kind of this new candy, and then recognizing this trend that they could tap into that actually really kicked off its success.
Very cool.
Because again, it's that whole idea that sometimes if something is kind of working and working a little bit, sometimes a repackage, a renaming,
Mhm.
said, ride the coattails of this other trend can completely turn things around. It went to Allen Candies for a little while, and as I said, it's now part of the Mondelez big corporate group.
And they make all kinds of other sour gummy the genre of, sugary sour gummy candies? Or is it just a highly competitive field now?
I think it's just a highly competitive field. And when they went to do the manufacturing, they actually did a deal where they formed a company called Allen Candy, which was Cadbury and Jarrett together. And they did that in Hamilton. And then it's in 85 rebranded Sour Patch Kids. And I think it was in the late 90s that Mondelez
Okay.
came along and bought them out.
Okay. I have an embarrassing story about, it wasn't actually Sour Patch Kids, but it was sour, it was those gummy worms that were sour with the coating on them.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
those? I mean, they're still around too.
Stay tuned. We're going to wrap up this story and tell you how to apply this lesson to your business right after this.
Hey, Rick, how's it going?
Great.
Great.
Yeah, I just had an amazing 90 minutes
You did?
with the host of the Empire Builders podcast.
Really?
You've heard the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I finally took him up on the starter session.
So you drank the Kool-Aid.
Guzzled it.
How did it taste?
Well, he answered those questions that were keeping me up at night. Now I know what I need to do. So it tasted like strawberries.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, and you can book your free starter session on this podcast website.
Okay, Dave. Say, and they haven't missed a thing.
Let's pick up our story where we left off, and trust me, you haven't missed a thing.
Okay. I have an embarrassing story about, it wasn't actually Sour Patch Kids, but it was sour, it was those gummy worms that were sour with the coating on them.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
those? I mean, they're still around too.
I forget who made those.
So do you want to hear this dumb?
Yeah, let's hear the story.
So
Let's hear the story.
I'm a single guy in my 20s in western Nebraska, running a radio station in a little tiny town, and I decided that my town didn't have anything going on the 4th of July, which is the big American summer holiday. So I decided that we're going to have a
Yeah.
parade, and we're just going to have it in the little city park where the radio station is, and I'm going to be the grand marshal of this parade, since it was my idea.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
because I'm a smart ass 20 something guy.
Yeah.
And so I decide, everybody throws candy at parades. Little kids come out and grab it. And so I just said, look, if you want to be in the parade, be in the
Okay.
parade. Come to the parking lot where we're going to start, and we're just going to drive around the park one time, or walk. We're going to walk around. So I take this leather mail bag that I have, that I usually go to the post office to pick up the mail in. I filled it with whatever kind of we had at hand, and there was a big bag of gummy worms laying around, that the ones that are just in a bag that's no wrapper. And then I had some unpopped popcorn, and I had a big bag of golf tees. And so I just put it all, not candy, golf tees. I put it all in this bag and mixed it up, right? And I'm walking
Okay.
through this parade, throwing out fistfuls of golf tees, unpopped popcorn, and gummy candy into the dirt, right? They're not wrapped. And it was highly entertaining for me, because kids would pick up a golf tee and they just look at it. They didn't know what it was. And one kid picked up like some kernels of popcorn and looked up at their mom like, it's corn. And then other kids are picking up the worms and their moms are batting them out of their hands as fast as they can pick them up, right? Because they're covered in dirt.
Right.
And
Right. Well, because dirt really would
it's
stick to
like
that gummy.
like a champ. It's not coming off till you get it in your mouth. And so I'm somewhat embarrassed, but I'm also kind of proud of this. So one of the women with small children in the crowd, these two little girls, at that point, ages 4 and like 1.5, and it's her first day in this town, right? She had just arrived that day and came to this parade with these two little girls, and
Welcome
welcome to town. And fortunately for me, she didn't remember that I was the one that did it, because when I actually met her 6 months later, we ended up getting married. I ended up adopting those two little girls that I was throwing candy to in my own parade.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So that was Julie and
I
our two
didn't-
oldest daughters.
I didn't realize that you would adopt that you would. I didn't realize your two
The older
daughters
two
were adopted.
yeah.
I had no idea.
Then we had two more,
Yeah, I
and
had
the
no
other
idea.
the younger two
Yeah.
were like, oh, what? They saw that when we adopted the older two, or when I did, they were like, well, why won't you adopt me? And I'm like, well, because I don't have to. Yeah, but why? But why won't you? So that's still an ongoing argument. But yeah, that's my gummy story. I became a hated person, but then it all
But it all worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Well, while you were doing that, I just quickly looked up the invention of the gummy worm is attributed to a German company called Trolli, but the sour worms are Hammond's.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. At any point, the tradition of golf tees, popcorn, and gummy worms never caught on. I think I'm the only one to ever do that.
Well, and so if we ever see it done again, if anybody ever sees a parade where somebody is throwing gummy worms, unpopped popcorn, and golf tees out, please let us know so that Dave
Exactly.
can collect his
Yeah.
royalty.
And yeah,
And also let Dave know that he has an unknown
yeah, somewhere.
doppelganger, out there somewhere in the world.
All right. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. I feel like having some. I may just go dissolve a vitamin C in my mouth just to get that visceral sour feeling, because that this episode has created in me, Stephen.
And the thing, and it is interesting how just these weird things come together, and we've now heard the origin story. And what town was that in again? Because where in Nebraska was that?
I'm not allowed to say from the Witness Protection Program. No. It was a little town called Sidney, Nebraska. Yeah.
Sydney. Can we even find it on a map?
Oh, it's on the map. You know what put it on the map is actually a company that would probably be worth talking about in Empire Builders one day, and that's Cabela's.
And we've talked about doing Cabela's, so we absolutely need.
It was
to.
the hometown of Cabela's. They're still around as a brand, but they're part of Bass Pro Shop now. But
yeah, Cabela's is a really fascinating, and I'm sure there's lots of things you have to share on it, given that history. So let's absolutely do Cabela's.
Another time.
All right.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, David.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please share us, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a big, fat, juicy 5-star rating and review at Apple Podcasts. And if you'd like to schedule your own 90-minute empire building session, you can do it at empirebuildingprogram.com.